Wealthy people make complicated things simple. Poor
Right.
people make simple things complicated.
All right, welcome in to the Canopy Connect show. My name is Ray Huang. Thank you for joining us. Today we've got our very special guest. He is Dr. Billy Williams. He's one of the world's foremost authorities on building and growing an insurance agency. He's the founder and president of Inspire a Nation Business Mentoring Services, offering his kind of mentoring services to agencies of all sorts, live and over Zoom, and doing some coaching and all that stuff. He's also the CEO of Williams Family Insurance and Investment Group. Through that group, he owns his own agency that he operates, and then he's also a partner with over 150, 170 insurance agencies, which kind of altogether, well over $1 billion in premium, right? New and renewal. So, Billy, thank you so much for joining us. Happy to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think this is a very important conversation that agents need to hear. I think Canopy Connect has a place, whether you're in my old school ecosystem or whether you're one of the new, shiny, flashy guys. I think Canopy Connect fits very neatly inside of whatever puzzle you have in your agency.
Yeah. And we had met up at the Agents Brokers United conference a little bit ago, and we were on the bus ride back. I think you shot a lot better than I did.
Well, I play golf 4 or 5 times a week, so I'm
Well,
supposed to, right?
hey, when you're successful and you've got 150 agencies operating super optimally, like, hey, you get to go golfing 4 times a month. I go four
I
times a
think
year, so
yeah, I think what you just said is what's the most important piece of all of this. A lot of people think every time I take on a new agency or I bring on a new employee or I bring on a new staff person, that's more work for me, right? And there are people who won't hire simply because I don't feel like I have the time to train and do all that other
yeah,
kind of stuff. So it's easier to do it by myself. I'm an old military guy. I don't feel that way. Every time I bring on a new staff, new tool, new employee, new whatever, that actually eliminates work I'm doing. So it frees me up to do more of the fun things. But the only reason it works is because, like you said, it has to be optimal. Every person you bring on can't be a brand new problem, they have
right,
to be a brand new solution.
right,
And until you understand your stack flow, your workflow, your processes, then everything is going to feel like a new problem, no matter what the technology is, no matter how awesome the technology, how awesome the person. It's always going to feel like a new problem instead of a new solution if
sure.
you don't have workflows and processes.
Yeah, and I think we've got agencies of all sizes, right? We've got the one man shop in a strip mall type of agent, and we've got 2,000 person agencies,
Right.
and they're all able to use Canopy Connect, but they all operate differently, and there's obviously a very different mindset with the very small agencies, right? When you're one person, four people, right? You've got one person doing each kind of core function, and the agency owner is playing that role of I need to do everything that is not being covered by right little bits here
Right.
and there, and I think that's always a growing pain sort of segment. Is there like a sweet spot there where like if you're doing it right, where there's a tipping point where it does get easier? Because I don't think there's any doubt. Like I've gone through in different businesses hiring,
Mhm.
and when you're hiring like that first new person or the first person doing that specific function, there's a challenge there, right? There's offloading institutional knowledge. You don't have the processes, like I wasn't
Mhm.
documenting everything, and that kind of working stuff out. At what point is that tipping point?
No, it's about
Operations.
2 years, about 2 years in. And the reason why it's 2 years, because it actually could be 6 months if people
Sure.
were to do it right. But the reason why it's 2 years is it takes people about 18 months to finally start listening to common sense.
Fair.
Okay. Seriously, start about 18 months to start listening to common sense. So if I were going to, a brand new agent, I started today, the first thing that I would do is I would go out and find processes, because at the end of the day, I can't control people, but I can control people's actions and activities if I give them the right processes.
Love it. Yeah.
So I would go to some place like Inspire Nation or whoever else. There's a million places you can go out here and find those. But day one, you need to walk in and say, okay, I'm learning these steps in this order so that I can pass them on. The real issue with not having processes day one is that you're not hiring in the proper sequence. The proper sequence of hiring is hire yourself, hire a tool or a person to support you, and then hire a tool or person to replace you.
Love it. Yeah.
But most people get caught up and stuck in the hire a tool or person to support you. And
Yeah.
there's some people that are just egomaniacs. They want the kingdom. They want to be able to say, "This is mine. Look out! Everyone out here works for me. I am the king and queen of all I survey." You know what I mean? And
I
so
hear
they
you.
never get into the hire to replace you mode.
Right. Right.
So that's the thing I always try to tell people. If you hire in the proper sequence, hire yourself, hire to support you, and then hire to replace you, and you look at your tools and your people in that regard, about 18 months into this, you're going to hire enough people and tools to where you can back off and now become the CEO,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All that stuff. But a lot of agents will never get there because their ego won't allow it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about process and maybe
Mhm.
specifically centering in on sales specifically. There's obviously a whole
Okay.
big servicing arm, but let's kind of tighten it down to like the
Yeah, I
sales.
can minimize. I can make anything simple.
There you go. I love that. There's a nugget.
Okay. So I can simplify anything.
Yeah. So let's talk about like how can we simplify the sales process, the maybe specifically the quoting process, right? I think
Okay.
there's a whole marketing and outbound and inbound model that we
Mhm.
can talk about on like getting them to the place where they want to get a quote from you. I talked about this in my presentation at ABU. I said it's a
Mhm.
miracle that they got here, right? Like all these little things need to fall in place for them to like fill out that form and hit a button or pick up the phone and call you or get in their car, drive to your office, whatever
Right.
modality it is.
Invite
Now
you.
they're
Mhm.
there. How do we process kind of the rest of that step?
The
That's
first thing you have to
it.
do is you have to guide the customer. A lot of agents know what they want to happen, but they never relay that to the customer. Here's what's going to happen. So I'm gonna answer that question, but I'm gonna use an example. When I go into a doctor's office, which I don't go very often, when I go into a doctor's office, I always ask, okay, doc, what's the process? What are we doing here? Oh, I'm going to have the nurse come in. She's going to take your blood, take your this, do that. And then after that, we're going to run some tests. And after that, we're going to do that. And then we'll take a look at everything. And we'll sit down and we'll talk. If it's good, this is what we'll do. I love that because I know what's going on. But when I call to get a quote and you're like, hey, thanks for calling to get a quote. Who am I talking to? You're talking to John. Hey, John, how'd you hear about us today? I've got this. Okay, John, what's your phone number, John? Dude, how about you tell me what's happening? How about you say, okay, John, here's what happens. Here's how our agency operates. I'm going to ask you a series of questions so that I can get some information from you. I need that information in order to be able to build it into our system. Once I have the basic information from you, I'm going to need to know a little bit more about your insurance history and what you currently have. So that way I can compare and possibly replace if I have to with what's going to be in your best interest. In order to do that, I've got a series of things that we need to do. Number one, I'm actually going to send you a link, and that link is going to allow you to log into your system. And instead of you having to go through and try to remember everything and tell me, I think I have this, we can both see it at the same time where I can pull everything in, and now I'll have the information I need. Because what I don't want to do is put extra work on you. So let's go ahead and get that done. So let me start with my basic questions and then we'll go from there. If you just simply take the time to guide the customer
Yeah.
through the process, let them know what's coming, you'll be amazed how customers will be, oh, okay. Because right at first, there's a sense of tension,
Hmm.
right? There's a sense of emotion. I don't know what the hell you're trying to do to me, and I don't know you don't know what I'm trying to do to you. All I know is my rate went up double, and I don't even know if I can trust you. I'm just trying to find a cheaper rate. I'm trying to find a cheaper price. I don't know what any of this is. Calm my ass down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna calm you down. And the way
Yeah.
I'm gonna calm you down is I'm gonna give you a process. Remember, processes have no emotions. So if I want to control your emotions, I need to put you into a process because processes have no emotions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that's the first way that we, when we talk about Canopy Connect with our agents, and I want to be full disclosure, I'm a commercial agent, and we're just now going to start using you guys on our commercial side, my personal, but we've used you for a while now on our personal partners, and some of our other partners. We've used Canopy Connect for a while now. So I've
Yeah.
seen it operate. I've seen how you function. I've seen how easy it can be. I've seen some of the challenges. I've seen some of the problems. I've seen some of the good things. So, but what I've always seen is that you fit into any ecosystem because at the end of the day, let's keep everything simple. At the end of the day, I need to know what kind of insurance you have,
Hmm.
what your coverages are, and I don't want to sit around and wait on you to give it to me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can ask for the deck page, and people don't know what the deck page is, and send them on a scavenger hunt to go find it. Whether that's in a filing cabinet or somewhere in a black box internet portal somewhere, that's always a challenge, and that's days usually, right? I'll get back to you when
Right.
I finally find that, and then they'll send you the wrong document, like, no, that's not what I needed, I don't need your bill. And there's all these like little challenge, like these little micro challenges, but they can cause a
Mhm.
delay, right? You cause a 1 day delay, you lose a little bit of momentum. Like, what else are they doing? Are they
Well, not
finding someone
momentum.
else?
If there's someone else out there that can do it faster, that can do it easier, why am I going to get back to you? You may be a great person, and we had a great conversation, we do whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go with what's easiest.
Yeah.
Most likely, that's what I'm going to do. That's why McDonald's is, one of the top restaurants in the world, not because their food is so good,
Yeah.
but because they make it easy to get their food.
Right, right.
But all
Hire
of
they
these
can hire a
places,
16-year-old kid, fit into their system, into their process, and still grill a perfect burger, right? So,
whatever's perfect for them. But again, most people don't use McDonald's because of flavor. They use McDonald's because of ease.
yeah.
Burger King, Wendy's, whatever thing you want to do. It's the same thing. Why 7-Eleven? Why do people go buy bread and all that stuff from 7-Eleven when it's double the price if you just went down the street and went to a grocery store, went to a Safeway or Kroger or Dominick's or Whole Foods or whatever? Because at that moment, I'm more concerned with speed and
Yep.
ease than I am quality.
Right.
Okay. And so that's even in our industry. I love our industry right now because more people are shopping right now than have ever shopped. Everybody's shopping, right? Because everybody's rates are going up, carriers are bailing on different states. It's just so much disruption. So everybody is shopping, which
Hmm.
means if I have a big mass volume of people that come into my store, do I want to take everyone through this concentrated, detailed, longevity type process? Or do I want to handle them as quickly as possible because I got a long line of people?
Right.
Well, Canopy Connect allows us to handle that long line of people in a very efficient way. So I was working with an agency in South Carolina that uses you guys, and one of my partner agencies. And when I was there for 3 days, I think, and I saw them use Canopy Connect on like 75 customers, right? And in the 3 days that I was there, and it was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is efficient as hell.
Hmm.
So this is equivalent to that long line of people waiting. And instead of making you fill out this form and handing here, all you guys fill out this paperwork and I'll get to you as soon as I can. It's
Yeah.
next step up. Okay, what's your login? What's your password? You don't know it, no problem. It takes me 5 minutes to help you reset your password versus 2 weeks of waiting for you to find your paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that extent, on the long line, I was at dinner yesterday. My nephew just graduated from 8th grade. We went out and had a nice dinner at a nice restaurant, and like, service was super slow. And I get like they only had a couple servers, and there's all these excuses that we can make. And
Right.
then at the end of the night, we ended up, I think we were like the last table there, or maybe there's two tables when our food came. And they said, "Oh, really, really apologize." And we had already kind of made a whole fuss because, and they're like, "Oh, we got a large party come before you." And I said, "We're a party of 8. We're a large party too, but I don't care that there was a large party before you, right? I
Exactly.
don't care." So in our analogy here on your long line, I don't care if the person before you has 6 cars and 4 houses, and you're trying to get all that, and that you're taking your sweet time processing that, and I can't get my stuff handled either, right? That's an
Exactly.
incredibly frustrating experience because, like, I get that you're busy. That's maybe one of the reasons I'm coming to you, because
Right.
you're busy and you're good, and that's a sign that you're good. But you've got to uphold that level of service and convenience, because I will make a trade off. If I had known that coming in, maybe I would have gone somewhere else, right?
Exactly. It's all about the workflow. It's about the process. So one of the things that agents should do is that they should include their prospect in the process. Meaning,
Yes.
here's what our steps are. Here's how we're going to proceed. Here's what's next. Here's what you should expect. So now that it's almost like the prospect has the roadmap and they
Yeah.
know exactly where they are on the map.
Yeah. It's super helpful just to know what that process is going to
Yes.
be, right? There's no surprises, and
Yep.
and you've kind of set the table. You say this is the way that we're going to work. Is that
Yep.
fair? And they're like, yeah, that's fair. I get it, and we're all on the same page.
And
Versus,
not just that, but a lot of times they will love the fact that they go, okay, so next you're going to do this, right? Because everybody likes to feel smart. So they're
yeah,
going to so next you're going to do this, right? I go, yep, that's exactly what we're doing next. Okay, okay, cool, cool, cool.
yeah.
So it's crazy how that can happen sometimes.
From a process standpoint, we've gotten the information. Are there anything specifically that you're looking for, maybe in a policy, when you're reviewing stuff through Canopy Connect, or however you're getting the information, or that I get that you're advising, you're less in the day to day nowadays, right? But what are you
Well,
advising
no,
people to
I still
look at?
train. I train every
Yeah.
day. So it doesn't, when you get to my role, my level, I have three primary things I do every day. I hire, I train, and I hold people accountable.
Yeah.
So I still am involved. And every now and then I'll sell. It's just not my big deal. If
Yeah.
in order to get me involved in the sale, it has to be like an airport, right? Or it
Yeah.
has to be, I mean, seriously, it has to be something big. I'm just not going to jump in on some little deal.
Yeah.
Because I have a tea time. So I'm not trying to you pull me off my tea time, it better be worth it. That's how I look at it.
That's the boss life right there.
Well,
Uh,
I've trained you. The deal again, I
yeah.
trained to replace me.
Yeah.
So if it's a $50,000 premium deal, I trained you to be able to take that over.
Yeah.
Now, if I got to be involved, then that means I need to train you,
Right.
right? I need to retrain you because until I've trained you to where you can actually replace me, I'm just creating another job for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that.
Yep. So you'd
Um,
ask the question, is there something I'm looking for?
right.
Well, it
Right.
depends on the agency. This is not a deal where I can give you an answer that's going to apply to every agency
Sure.
because every agency is different. For us, we have our standards. We have three types of standards in all of our agency: premium standards, we have policy standards, and we have additional policy standards. So either you have the coverage that we're looking for from our standard. Maybe I'll use something simple like homeowners. Maybe homeowners, our standard is 500,000 liability. So I get your deck page or I get your Canopy Connect and realize you only have 100,000 liability. So at that point, if I if I've trained my team well, they're going to say, "Well, you have 100. Our standard is 500." Let me explain why we want you to have 500. Doesn't mean you have to buy it, but we want you to know why we want you to have it. And if you choose not to buy it, then I need you to sign this decline coverage form saying we offered you our standard and you want something below our standard.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And that kind of covers you
So,
from I mean, it covers you from them coming back to you later and saying, "Oh,
well,
why
no,
wasn't I
what it
covered
does is
when this happened?" And
see, it's not even about a coverage because a lot of agents go, "Oh, that's good for E&O." I don't give a damn about E&O. Okay, just being honest, I could give less than a damn about E&O because I know our processes are always going to cover us for E&O. This is about sales. Most people don't sell high ticket because they don't ask for high ticket.
yeah.
Okay, they're very comfortable selling renters level policies, And so that's what they built their business on.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. The denomination I think in is different. And your team, your people listening to this need to understand. You think in a certain denomination. Your team thinks in a certain denomination. The culture of your business is in a certain denomination. I built my business to where we think in hundreds of thousands and millions. Some agencies are building where they think in 50. So if a person has a $50 rate increase, it's freak out time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then some agents, they think in thousands. Okay, your policy only went up $200, but yeah, we added more coverage. You're good. Stay where you are. It's a good carrier. So it really is about the denomination you think in.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I can't give you an answer that applies to everybody, because your processes, your workflows, your next steps, because that's all the process is what's the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Your next step is going to be based in the denomination you think in. So you may, as an agent, may have a $10,000 denomination that you think in, right? But you may hire people who have a $10 denomination they think in. And then you wonder why Judy won't cross sell, why she won't upsell, why won't she mention this policy that this customer needs? Why didn't you talk to them about umbrella? Well, they were already so upset about their car insurance rate that I didn't feel comfortable talking to them about an umbrella policy. So what I do is I try to eliminate all that premium crap by putting processes in place. So first, no coverage, low coverage, missing the supporting policy. First thing we look at, our standard is you must have at a minimum this coverage. You have to have this, right? I don't want a liability only car unless I got 3 other cars and you just happen to throw a liability car on there. Okay, great. But I'm not shopping for liability only cars. I'm not hunting for that. No coverage. Low coverage. I don't want someone below 100, 300. Now, you may have 50, 100, but I really want you at 100, 300, which means that if you don't have our standard, I'm never going to not sell you the policy, but I'm going to make sure you sign something saying you understand it's not what we recommend.
Right.
What happens is it forces my team to have a higher denomination conversation without relying on the fact that they grew up poor. They grew up, their daddy was a coal miner and they didn't have any money. Their uncle was rich and then he lost everything. I mean, whatever their little issues are, I try to get those issues out of place by replacing them with processes.
Yeah.
And then our third standard is we always want to quote you 3 policies. So if you come to us and your workers' comp, as an example, we always want to quote your BOP and we always want to quote your commercial auto, right? Or if you don't have commercial auto, we at least want to look at your umbrella, your commercial umbrella. So there's always a 3 policy standard. And we tell you that up front. Hey, we'll quote your commercial auto, but along with that commercial auto, we also want to quote your BOP and we want to quote a commercial umbrella for you. Now, whether you buy them or not, that's up to you. But we always want to make sure that we've had that conversation about those 3 policies. Mm-hmm. So by putting those processes in place, I eliminate the emotions and the denomination that people think in because they follow our process. Right. Process eliminates emotions. Does that make sense? So when we pull a Canopy Connect pull, I'm not looking because there's something specific I'm looking for, because our specificity is from our process. What I'm looking for is what you currently have to see how close you are to our standards.
Right.
And it's still always about price. Let's get this straight. Because I hear all this crap all the time. Sell on quality, sell on quality, sell on quality. Quality is a formula. Okay? It's not a single entity. It's a formula.
Sure.
And the formula is value, which is how it impacts your quality of life. So let's forget value. Let's say quality of life plus price equals a sale or no sale. So quality of life is, what does your life look like without my product?
All right.
And are you comfortable with it at the lower levels? Are you comfortable not having it? Are you comfortable not having me? What does your life look like without my process, without my product, without me? And then what's the price? So maybe I think I'm all this, and you're like, I'm not really interested in all that. I'm more interested in this price. And I said, okay, well, to get you to this price, I'm going to have to cut out things because I
Right.
can't get you to this price with all this. It doesn't work. So now I need to cut out. Maybe you do need to drop to 5,100. Fine, as long as you sign something. Maybe you do need to drop to 300,000 liability instead of five. Fine, as long as you sign something. Maybe you don't want an umbrella. Fine, as long as you sign something. So when the way our processes work, when we get you to the price that you want, whether you meet our standards or don't meet our standards, you're at your price and you're happy. Good. But you're going to sign something.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to sign something because I need you to know what our standards are. I need you to know where we want you to be. You can get the cheapest broke ass policy you want. That's no problem. But it won't be because we recommended it. It's because you felt like that's all you could afford.
Right.
So agents, don't buy into that. If they don't buy this, then I'm just getting rid of you. Because I would rather sell you a broke ass policy and upgrade you over time
Mm-hmm.
than for you to go down the street to somebody else.
Yeah. What about, like, I hear stories of, right, the $50 a month grandma that calls you for every little thing. Right? Like, there, where it's like there's a value to every service
To your time, right?
call
There's a
and to
value
your
to
time and all that
absolutely.
stuff. So are there times where you do kind of make that decision to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's all about revenue. If the revenue is not worth the headache that you know it's going to be, if they're a headache when you are quoting them, they're going to be a headache when they're your customer.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like a marriage. If y'all were fussing and fighting and arguing while you were engaged, it's only going to get worse when you get married.
Sure.
It's not suddenly going to change. Okay. So it's the same thing here. And yeah, we'll make that. But again, my agency is very specific. We're commercial. We're big commercial. So we're very specific about our premium, about anything. I will send small commercial deals to my partners because it's just not our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm talking to the general 1, 2, 3 person shop that's out there. If you will put agency standards in place and have all your conversations start with your standards and work to whatever the customer wants or whatever they feel like they have, you will sell more premium. You will sell more revenue because there's a 5,100 liability customer out there that will buy a 100, 300 policy if someone explains why they need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you explain why, the power is not in you telling them why they should have it. The power is in you showing them what life looks like with the decisions that they make. We're born looking like our parents and we die looking like our decisions.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Joe, you can have this homeowners and only have 1,000 medical. If that's what I mean, this auto policy and only have 1,000 medical. But you have a $9,000 deductible on your health insurance. If you were in a car accident and you had $10,000 medical, we could cover all of your health insurance deductible.
Okay.
So now we're only going to give you 1,000. You save $5 or whatever, but now you got to come up with another $9,000 out of pocket just to cover your deductible. If you're comfortable with that, if that's the way you want life to look, that's good. We'll give you the 1,000. But is that really what you want? Or would you rather pay an extra $6 a month and know that if you're in a car accident, your health insurance deductible is 100% covered?
Yeah.
But see, we don't do that as agents. We don't paint the picture of what life looks like with bad decisions.
Yeah. It's almost like, because you told me earlier about kind of the process removes the emotion
Yes,
from
process eliminates
that.
emotions.
Yet at the same point, at this particular stage, I feel like we're bringing a little bit of emotion, but it's not your emotion. It's putting the emotion onto the agent or onto the consumer, right? Onto the client.
Exactly. When I say process eliminates emotion, I'm only talking from our side, the
Yeah.
agency.
You're right.
I want that customer to be emotional.
Right.
I want them to feel like, God, I don't want to make a stupid
What
decision.
if?
I don't
Yeah.
want to be left out short. I don't want to be stuck with a basement that's full with water and I only got, I have no water backup to cover it. I mean, I want the emotion to live on that side, not live on our side.
Sure.
But unfortunately, we tend to take on the emotion.
Hmm.
We think in that denomination. We think for them. I've had agents that wouldn't even mention a coverage because, well, I needed it 2 years ago and I thought I was going to get this and I didn't get that. So I don't want them to go through the same thing. Dude, you just had a bad agent.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with it? You had an agent that was scared to talk to you. And then when you needed it, it wasn't there. And now you're passing on that same legacy.
Yeah.
What good is that? So I'm telling you, if agents were to establish processes, both on their quoting, their new customer onboarding, their claims, their endorsements, their renewal, birthday, if they had established processes, they would eliminate a lot of the emotion that's holding them back. More importantly, they'd be able to train other people on those processes so that they could hire people to replace some of that stuff that they're doing every day. Because Judy won't say it, so you feel like you have to handle it. But the reason why Judy won't say it is because there's no process to eliminate Judy's emotion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And I know we're going completely off topic here
Oh,
from Canopy Connect, but all of
it's
this
okay.
is
Like this is valuable. I think, it's valuable information for agents and agency owners, and wherever the conversation goes, I'm good with.
okay.
So happy to talk about it. If we want to bring it back to Canopy Connect, I think one of the things that we can talk about, you had mentioned you've been with us for a while. The agencies that you work with have been using us for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the good and the bad and the frustration, and we're always trying to, obviously we hear those and we want to alleviate. Right? I don't know how to find my password.
That is the number one issue.
Right?
Yeah, that's number one. I don't know how to get my password. And so we actually have written up a process on how to locate your password, how to reset your password. And, whether you're Geico, Progressive, State Farm, whatever, how to go in and find your policy, how to reset your password so that we can do it. And what I tell people, I'd much rather take 10 minutes and help you reset your password today than have to wait 3 or 4 days for you to try to figure out how to get that information to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and fortunately for us, like we've built in that forgot your password right into the Canopy Connect thing. So it you don't even need to really have a full process. You just click on that forgot password. That's going to take you where you need to go to reset your password.
And that's for people who actually know who their carrier is.
Yeah. Yes. Right. And you tell me, like, what are some of the other objections that you encounter or expect about?
Well, the biggest one that we get is if they're dealing with a broker that has them with 4 different companies, right? 4 different carriers. And so now you got your auto with this person, your home with this person, your boat with this person, this whatever. And from what I've seen, I literally have to go to each carrier, right? I have to log into each carrier.
You do.
I wish, and I know it's probably impossible, I wish there was a way that there was one universal pool that could literally pull down all of your insurance information.
Yeah.
I'll say, who's your carrier? Oh, it's Jones and Hightower. That's not a carrier. That's your agent. That's your agency. But who does that agency have you with for your insurance? I don't know. Mr. Jones takes care of all that.
Yeah.
Now we have
that's a tough one to unravel and overcome. And that's simply like the methodology of how Canopy Connect works, being sort of consumer permissioned and kind of going in directly to the carrier to pull that information. We are releasing a bunch of new features where if people have their deck pages, which I know is a challenge to get, but some people have them, you can just upload your deck page, right? So in one process, you can upload your 4 deck pages from different places, and we're augmenting some of the experiences with forms. So one of the other objections is like, hey, like we're pulling in information, and we pull as much information as kind of the carrier has.
Exactly.
But sometimes it's not everything. They all kind of vary carrier to carrier. So what we're releasing is, these supplemental forms, not like actual insurance form, but just like after the process, we confirm your driver information. Do you need to add another driver? And there's some other custom questions that you might want to ask that maybe you don't always get the right answers for. You want to try to get that before you then turn around and have that conversation. So we have that option to ask some of those additional questions, right?
But here's the thing: agents you have to worry about some agents, not all agents, some agents. I don't need perfection. Okay, me personally, my mentality is I don't need perfection. If I get 60% of the information, right, that's 60% less work I have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of work. So therefore, and I don't build our culture to be afraid of work. Some agents are like, well, I'm waiting for you guys to finish your updates and finish your upgrades and finish all your modifications before I come on board with you. Why? You're doing 100% of the work your damn self.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing 60% of the work or 40% of the work. Why? And we live in this world where people are being fed this line that everything is so simple and everything is so easy and everything should just be able to work. Yeah. Everything should be plug and play.
It's all automated and AI and integrated everything.
It's BS, and it's all BS. And when I say it's all BS, meaning yes, you can sit up and take 6 months and try to get all this stuff integrated, but let one thing break, and all that integration and connectivity all goes to hell in a handbasket. And the problem is your people don't know how to go back old school.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They don't know how to do everything. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna age myself here. Okay. Really age myself. So when I first went in the military, I was a ground surveillance radar operator. Ground surveillance radar, meaning we actually put out all these little radar things that picked up whether there was movement, picked up all this other stuff. And part of our job was to take that information and be able to relay it to the front line or to whoever needed it. So I went in the military in 1982. At that time, you still had to learn Morse code. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the reason why you had to learn Morse code was because if everything went to hell in a handbasket, if there was a big EMP pulse or something like that, right, and it knocked out all electronics and knocked out everything, Morse code would still work.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. It would still work. Now in the military, they still have Morse code operators, but they don't have, they don't have a big handful of them. They have just enough that if national security required that we were able to communicate, there would still be people who still knew Morse code.
Yeah.
That could still get the radio across. There's still AM radios, handheld radios that don't require, all the fancy dancy stuff.
Yeah.
The problem with agents is that when you set up all this stuff and you don't learn the basics, you don't know how to fill out a quote sheet. You don't know how to take it and put it into an AMS system. You don't know how to move that over to a carrier. You don't know how to quote it in a carrier's website. You don't know how to do the basics. So now you got all this fancy stuff set up and something breaks.
Right.
Your people don't know how to adjust back to this. Well, we can still do 70% of this, but 30% of this we got to do manually. I've literally seen agents shut their office because their computer program went down.
Yeah.
We can't work. Can't work. Computers are down. Might as well go home. And I'm like, whoa, hold up. Do you have their information on a piece of paper somewhere?
Phone still works.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I got it. You got their phone number? Yeah, I got it. Okay. Is your cell phone still working? Yeah, that still works. Then why the hell can't you call them and say, I can't put your stuff in the system right now, but let me get his stuff, make it as much manually as I can on a quote sheet. Yeah. So when our systems come back up, I can throw them in the system.
Love it. Yeah.
But I've literally seen agents shut their office. Everybody go home. The electricity's out. Everybody go home. We can't do anything. Okay. I get it. That's the way you operate. That's not how we operate. When COVID hit, my agencies weren't freaking out. Yeah. They just weren't. We've had fires. We've had all kind of stuff. And it's like, look, guys, there's always a way to go back to the basics. There's always a way to manually do it. And again, I'm older. I get it. I'm old school. I came up in a different generation. I came up in the I'm a baby boomer, so I came up in the work generation. I get it. But the problem that I see today is a lot of these younger agents, especially, are so busy trying to abdicate contact with the customer, abdicate work, not do anything, automate everything to the point that they can't sell anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I see a lot of. But again, that's me on my little high horse because I'm a process guy. Because I'm a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. Well, that's that military background, informing how you operate as well. So,
Yeah.
how can other people find out more about you? How can they, enlist your help and any of that stuff?
Well, it depends on what help they want. If they want help trying to grow their agency, find processes, do all those particular things, then go to inspireanation.org. Okay, inspireanation.org. I would tell you check out our 15-minute lunch and learns. They're free. We go over a lot of stuff, and that will really set the stage for if you want more advanced mentorship. We go from there. If you want to know more about the insurance side, as far as the operating the agency, what we sell, all that kind of stuff, then go to wfig.info. Look at our website. I would always tell people I feel like our website is a great template for how you should operate your website. That and let me get in deeper into this. I think this is important. So our website is set up to attract the 4 types of insurance prospects. Okay. There are 4 types. There's self-service, self-sale. These are people who want to go online, get a quote, do all this stuff themselves. They don't really want to deal with you at all. Okay. Self-sale, self-service. Then there are professional sale, self-service. These are people that I want to talk to you. I want you to explain it to me. I want you to tell me your standards. I want to walk you through everything. But then once I've bought it, leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
Give me a mobile app. Don't call me every 2 weeks. Don't send me 700 emails. Explain it to me up front and then leave me alone. That's professional sale, self-service. So the first one is self-sale, self-service.
Yep.
Then there's professional sale, self-service. Then there's self-sale, professional service. These are people, I want to buy it myself. I want to act like I know it all. I want to shop everything, but as soon as there's a problem, I want to talk to you. Right? I bought this broke-ass policy online because I thought I knew everything. But now, after the fact, I had a claim or I had an issue or the bank told me this isn't good enough, or, we had an agent that went online and bought what they thought was E&O insurance. And then come to find out it wasn't E&O insurance. It was just regular old commercial liability, right? And so they called one of our partner agents saying, hey, I went online and I bought what I thought was E&O insurance. Can you convert it? They're like, no, we can cancel and sell you the right policy. But, you made this decision. So their customers that do the same thing. They go online and buy their auto, buy their home, buy their whatever. And then they realize, I got the wrong crap.
Yeah.
I've seen them buy condo insurance because it was cheap,
right,
when they really needed a homeowner's, right? Stuff like that. So that is a self-sale professional service.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the old school way, which is professional sale, professional service, where I need to call you. We need to be on the phone for 45 minutes or an hour, and I need to get this, and I'll call you back. And 2 weeks later, I'll that kind of crap. Our industry insurance itself is not changing. What's changing are our prospects. It used to be 95%, I'm making up a number, but 95% of all customers were professional sale, professional service. Now that number's down to like 50%.
Sure.
So if we were just break it down in quarters, 25% of the people want you to have something on your site where they can buy, bind, and issue without ever talking to you.
Yep.
Okay. They want self-sale, self-service. And then there's another 25% that are like, no, I want to talk to you, but I don't necessarily want to deal with you on a regular basis.
Right.
Professional sale, self-service. So you need to have stuff on your website where they can pull their ID cards, where there is a customer portal, where they can pull their own stuff like through Canopy Connect, where there is a mobile app that you can give them.
Yep.
Okay. And then there, you need something on your site. Well, this should actually be your process where if someone does buy something on your site without talking to you, you follow up with them anyway.
Yep.
Okay. Follow them up at least once, follow up anyway, and just say, we want to make sure before we turn you completely loose that you have everything you need to be completely free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have our mobile
You
app.
understand what you just bought.
Exactly. You have our
And,
mobile app. You have the right coverages. You have everything. That's why we're following up.
mhm.
And then, of course, there's professional sale, professional service. So when you go to our site, you're going to see that all four of those are covered,
Yep.
right? You can get a quote right now, bind right away, or you can call us, or videos that explain everything, all that. There's a portal, or you need service, you can go right on in. You need to download the mobile app, all that's there. So that's why I'm bringing up. Says if you really want to see what we consider a well-run agency and what their website looks like, go to wfig.info and look at our site. That's our insurance site. But if you need help with mentorship, then go to inspirenation.org. But at the end of the day, let me just finish this with Canopy Connect. Canopy Connect fits into all four phases of that customer experience, those four types. If I'm self-service, self-sale, Canopy Connect has a place for me. Okay. If I'm professional, sale, self-service, Canopy Connect has a place. I mean, just in all four, Canopy Connect has a role. And that's why I told you, I reached out to you and said, I want to do this podcast. You didn't reach out to me.
Yep.
I reached out to you and said, I want to do this podcast to talk about Canopy Connect and where it fits in our ecosystem.
Right.
Because I believe that you're one of those technologies that just fits in our industry.
Yeah. Hey, and I really appreciate you reaching out to do this. I think you've got a great message to share, and I think you provide a ton of value to the insurance industry writ large. So I would have been a fool to not have you on. And yeah, I mean, I really appreciate your time on this podcast, sharing some of your knowledge, and I look forward to seeing you out at the next conference. We're always out there. We're kind of crossing paths and running into each other.
I think you guys are going to be vendors or trainers at one of our conferences coming up in September or October, November, something. We talked about that. So hopefully we'll have you out there because we bring in 3 vendors to help train on our 2-day workshop, which I didn't talk about, but we do have a 2-day workshop. It's not a conference. It's not a networking event. It's not whatever. We only allow 35 agencies because it's all implementation. It's hands-on, sit down, open your computer, roll up your sleeves. Let's get this stuff in place, right? But I know we had talked about possibly you guys doing something with us later on down the road. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. It's interesting because I go to a lot of conferences, and a lot of times what I hear is like people get hyped up, right? They hear your keynote presentation, they hear all these other stuff, they hear all these great ideas, right? They go to the vendor hall and they're like, oh, we can do all this stuff for you in the way that we were talking about earlier, and then they go home and they kind of lose that.
Well, reality hits. Reality hits when they get home. When you get back and you got 7 quotes sitting on your desk.
I've been away from my office for 5 days, and
right. Judy walked out. You realize payroll didn't go through in time, and all of a sudden all this stuff that you saw over there becomes secondary. Which is why I do the 2-day workshop where we actually bring you in and say, okay, now for 2 days, you're not hearing conferences, you're not hearing speeches. We're actually implementing.
Yeah.
When you walk away from here, 60% of the stuff that you've heard is actually going to be up and running before you walk away from this conference. Walk away from our workshop.
That's the way to do it, man. Awesome. Well, hey, Billy, I appreciate you being on here, and thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right.